as soon as the card is through, I'm going to go try and find the spot we came through and carve the symbol of cord in the floor.
Okay. Seems doable.
Oh, these gods aren't going to like that.
Very anti-cord, this cave.
Well, so once we're inside, Tessian motions to Lena. He's like, take your hand off of it. Let's see if the door closes.
Okay, and I do.
And you watch as your view of the path that you came up through suddenly shrinks, and in its place is seemingly nothingness. It looks like a cave wall on the inside. You no longer can see back to where you came from. You can see just the tip of the circle that that Karash carved into the ground. It's there. So you know he carved it into the ground somewhere, but you can't even see all of it now because it's been enveloped by what appears to be the same barrier as before.
I'm going to tap the wall with my sword.
Springy. Gives a little.
Creepy.
It's like a puncture-free bounce house.
Okay, awesome. Never mind.
Yeah. Boing. So, dank cave. Some light now because of Tessian. You can see around you. There's nothing really notable about the surroundings, but you at least have a way out. But without Lena's hand on it, it doesn't seem like you have much in the way of keeping it open.
Well, I guess we're here.
I suppose we are. Let's
Torches.
go. And I'm going to start walking off, kind of with purpose and kind of excited.
Da-dum, 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 da-dum.
Gonna attempt to light a torch while we're walking.
Okay. It lights. Nothing seemingly strange about the air or the atmosphere in here.
This should be easy. Maybe we did that. Maybe that was the test. Maybe the hard part's over.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, I suspect the true test is yet to come. That was simply the, to make sure that the right person was here to take the test.
You guys forge onward for a bit. It's almost bizarre. This seems to, like, the walls of this are still in this kind of semicircle above you. The ground is relatively smooth. The walls are relatively smooth, seemingly made of stone, which is a little bit odd because the mountain didn't seem to be as much prominent stone as, say, the area around the Sanguine Stronghold was. But still, this looks like it has been put here with purpose. It doesn't seem accidental. It seems either man-made or something similar was done with a reason. What that reason is not entirely clear, although you certainly have a guess based on the journey. This path continues to go straight as an arrow for a good 5-6 minutes, and no notable landmarks. You actually start to kind of wonder to yourselves, where is this even going? How deep in the mountains are we? Like, you still have a sense of direction. You know which way you were facing when you came in, but you've sort of lost track of even how far you are from the entrance to some extent. And eventually you look up ahead, and it appears to open up into a chamber that has some kind of round dais in the middle of it. You can't really make out too many of the details from this distance, but if you wish to approach it, that's up to y'all.
I do have a question about the architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Tessian's trying to do everything he can because we have a job to do, technically. So you say it's smooth. Like, are we talking like... is it like built? Are there small stones built in such a way that it is just, and then they were smoothed out, or does this look like they are giant solid, like it's solid stone that someone has, like, say, magically or unnaturally smoothed or bored a hole into? Like, I'm trying to get a sense of how this was created, the architecture, who made it.
It does look carved out. It's not like various stones in the wall that were built. It wasn't like they blasted through and then put up supports or something. It looks as this something, whether it was something large or something magical, carved this shape. Because, again, it's too straight and too consistent in its rounded tops that it has to have been done to some extent with, again, like intent and purpose with somebody who knew what they were doing.
Can Tessian discern what it is? And he will consult with Thea on this, because Tessian knows that there are creatures that can burrow, and there's certainly magic that can move stone. I mean, he can move water, so he's trying to discern what could have done this, and he will consult with Thea on it. if that helps at all.
Sure.
So,
She kind of echoes the same response. She says, I know of some magical means that could do something like this, although the longer we go, the harder it would be for someone to keep up that for a longer period of time. It also could be some kind of creature, but I don't know. It's almost too straight. You would think there would still be some irregularities to it, but that doesn't seem to be the case here.
I mean, Tessin is just basically taking this all in. And he's like, I do agree. If it was a creature, it would have had to have been controlled, or, Lena can change shapes. I suppose it's possible that someone in the guise of a creature could have done it. Or if one spellcaster would have struggled, multiple spellcasters. But regardless, it's strange. Very strange. But yeah, that's...
Lena, did your grandmother give you any expectations? Is this in line with anything she said, or do we have no clue what we're walking into?
Yeah, I'll kind of respond and say she didn't give me any direct details. It was more of an overview and about the potential dangers of the journey. I wasn't given anything very specific, so this is new for all of us.
Excellent.
And I kind of pat your shoulder.
No help, but the assurance that it's dangerous. Very good.
Are you guys going to go into this room?
Yes, I shall. But cautiously and, not crazy.
Right. We don't want crazy.
Yeah.
But we're never going to survive.
I get it.
The room opens up into a circular chamber. What's different about this as opposed to what you've seen in this pathway to it is that the walls, while you can still see elements of it that are smooth, just like the entry chamber was, there also appear to be tree roots coming in from the ceiling and kind of wrapping themselves and weaving themselves along the walls in all sorts of intricate patterns. And they cover pretty much all of the walls. Again, you can still see the stonework behind it, but there's a pretty hefty amount of branches and roots that are wrapping around pretty much all the sides of this round room. There is a dais in the middle. It appears to be a stone table of sorts, or you're not entirely sure what its function is, but it's at about that height. And there are 8 doors ahead of you, all basically splayed out from about 90 degrees all the way through. So you come in from the one side, and these are at like 90 degrees, 270 degrees, and everything in between to make a forward-facing semicircle as opposed to the up and down one that you've been walking through. You can see... make a perception check, everybody. 13 for Thea, not great.
A 19.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm number 1.
Mike, when was the last time you rolled well?
It's been a while.
It feels like it's been sessions.
I rolled a 17 for perception a little bit ago. I mean, but everybody else did too, so.
Yeah, that's true.
13, and I say, for what it's worth, Lena, in the books I read, they wouldn't expect us to just choose a random door. There must be something here that indicates a correct choice. We just have to find it.
I concur. And then I'm going to go to the table, see if I can't inspect it for stuff, and then also start inspecting the doors and see if there isn't like a symbol on them or something.
Wait, tunnels?
Yeah, there's tunnels that seem to lead to doors, yes, but
Oh, okay.
you'd have to be kind of walking down each one. I mean, they're not that long of a tunnel, but it would take you some time to go up to each one.
Well,
'cause
okay,
they're
maybe I
all-
won't walk down like.
So
to
I'm
each
going to be looking
door.
for
I'll just-
something in the center or like glyphs on the wall that...
There's a dais in the
Yeah.
middle. We should go look at that first.
So what's
That's what I was
everybody?
gonna do.
What's everybody got here?
Like
I got a
frickin'
1 from
Sherlock.
Karash,
16 for
a
Grail.
13 for Isaac,
Great idea, Watson.
10.
a
10
13
for
for
Tessie.
Thea, and Lena.
19.
Okay. Karash, you're baffled as to why these tree roots are here. I mean, it's not like you don't understand tree roots, but still, it's like, why are they poking through here? That doesn't seem good. How are they supposed to get water? You're all kind of confused by those and distracted. The rest of you, You do see on what appears to be a very weathered sign above the door that's straight ahead. Just says Conatus on it.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Branding.
It looks like
Marketing on point.
it's basically been like wood. It's been burned into the wood, and it looks like it has been there for a while. You don't exactly know how old wood is per se off the top of your head, but you can tell that this is kind of looking rough.
Well,
Hold
we're
together.
in the right place, everyone.
Lena, with that roll, you also see up ahead that there does appear to be something carved into the dais. Looks like words.
Ooh. Okay, I want to read them.
Okay, it's in common. So
Okay.
that's a good start.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody but Karash can read it. And Karash, you can see a handful of these letters that you've gone over in your studies, but not nearly enough to make sentences. And it says, I began eternity and ended in space, through all of time and in every place, contained in earth, water, or flame, but grandeur so awesome wind dare not tame. Not in your mind, but in your dreams, vacant to kings, but present to queens, to chart a course, but not a path, select your door, or face my wrath.
Okay, I'm gonna go back and relay that to unless everyone else came to read
I
the.
memorized it. And
We're just gonna pretend that I did.
This is my new slogan for the Conatus.
I was trying to
Right.
type it out and I was not fast enough, so alas. Well, I'll motion to everyone to come read it and say, oh, it appears to be there's some sort of riddle.
I was right. I hate riddles.
Can you tell me what it says?
I will relay that to Karash as well. Yes.
Can we get it written out?
Actually, I would love to get it written out. I started with
Yeah.
half of it and then I missed the other half. So
I was interrupted by a small fuzzy thing, so I couldn't even hear it.
If I go into Roll20 real quick, I can probably paste it in there. I'm never in Roll20, but we can do that.
Well, they have to
Be
correspond
great.
to the door somehow, so I'm going to start looking for what markers we're talking about here.
good idea.
Join a game. Nope, signed in. I don't think there's a faster way for me to send this to everybody. I guess no.
Skype chat.
Yeah, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I can't get to that without.
Oh,
You might as well
yeah.
put it in the log.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm working on that.
so Chris, I'm going to go to the leftmost door tunnel and see from the exterior of the tunnel, then down into the tunnel and up to the door. Is there anything notable?
Okay, go ahead and make an investigation check on that one.
I'm going to be looking around too, see if there's any glyphs or anything.
Fuck. 8.
All right, I'm almost in. Nothing really sticks out about the tunnel, and the door is unmarked.
Son of a bitch. Okay.
Launch game.
Hey, Grail, I'm not seeing anything in here. Come check me if you can.
Hey.
Come spot me. Come spot me, bro.
All right.
I'm trying to
investigation
set my
check.
new max.
I have to make gains. Well, it's split it between two lines, but there you go. And
Perfect, thank you.
for the viewers, I'll read it one more time while they're looking it over and thinking. I began eternity and ended in space, through all of time and in every place, contained in earth, water, or flame, but grandeur so awesome wind dare not tame. Not in your mind, but in your dreams, vacant to kings, but present to queens. To chart a course, but not a path. Select your door, or face my wrath.
Can we?
Oh, I'm so glad I play a stupid person.
So you're not expected
we-
to help.
Is there any? I don't want to say is there a skill check we can make to figure this out? But are there skills that are relevant that our characters can make checks for to piece any bits of these together? Specifically, the thing to chart a course. Tessian is proficient in navigator's tools. Does that give him any kind of, does anything stand out in his mind that wouldn't stand out to me?
Just gotta solve the riddle, man.
No, I know. I know there's a lot of that here, but it's just are there any character specific things that are like, oh, that makes sense, or this is relevant to me, that I would not pick up on?
I would say you can make a wisdom check.
Good. That's not a good stat. That's fine.
Does Grail see anything?
Did she go on the same one as yours? I was still trying to paste that in. Was she looking at the same one as you did, or a different one?
Well, I called her over. I guess it's up to her if she's like, nah.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Did you want
Very
to do an
nah.
investigation check?
Yeah. And I'll tell you, like, there has to be something in here, or this riddle we can't solve it.
Okay, 18.
My wisdom was only a 12, so I'm sure that's not enough.
Yeah, nothing seems to connect for you at the very least. Like something that doesn't really speak to any prior experience at the very least. So that does sort of rule a few things out, but doesn't really help narrow your search at all. Grail, you see largely the same thing Isaac saw. A nondescript hallway that leads to a nondescript door with no markings on it, a handle, but no other designations seemingly.
Well, maybe this is the blank one. I'll check another tunnel. And then I'll do the next one over, and I don't want to say one by one. But I do want to see, like, just on this next one. It's a 13 investigation. Same thing.
Heading down a couple more of the hallways, they all seem to be identical to the point where it's almost off-putting. They almost shouldn't be able to be this identical, and yet they're the exact same length, seemingly. Like it takes you about as many steps to walk to the end of each hallway. All the doors that you've encountered seem to be not marked. They each have a handle made out of wood. Ceiling is there.
I'm looking at the riddle. The thing that's really getting me is the vacant to kings at present and queens part. What the hell does this mean? I'm so bad at riddles.
Mike, you are muted.
We're good. I'm gonna pull out my compass and see if that helps at all, because it says chart a course.
Okay.
I'm gonna latch onto what I see.
That does seem like something Karash would do, for the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
He's gonna steer the ship then.
Yep.
I'm helping.
Compass points north, which is sort of towards the front right in this direction, since you were facing northwest when you first came into the chamber. It's kind of like hanging a slight right as you come in. Doesn't
that way is north.
Doesn't
Cool.
really spark any inspiration for you.
So, contained in earth, water, or flame. Why not air?
It says something about wind dare not tame. So, is like the wind not included? I'm also really bad at riddles, by the way. So this is just gonna be.
We're really good at this.
Welcome to your own private escape the room. Unfortunately, there's only one
shit.
clue.
Tessian is like, I don't know. It could be a reach, but it could involve freedom of movement. If the kings and queens are related to chess pieces, queens are capable of moving farther than kings. The wind is often associated with the freedom to move, not constrained by anything else. Same with a course and a path. You simply have to go wherever you wish. It's not the path itself. Go where there isn't one, but I don't know. It doesn't match up all the way, I don't think.
Tessian, I don't want it to be this easy, but could it... Something about along with what you were saying, and then with a final line, pick your door or face my wrath, I am almost wondering if it's not about the right door. We simply have to select a door and go through it. But if I'm wrong, then we face whatever wrath this riddle had in mind.
No, I agree. That I think is a possibility. The riddle instructs us to pick a door or face the wrath, not to pick the correct door.
Perhaps it's as simple as going through the door that has the Conatus sign above it.
Seems easy. Too easy.
If Tessie goes, if I'm interpreting it correctly, and I don't know that I am, it doesn't really matter which door you choose so much as you choose a door. So if that's the one you wish, then that's the one we go through.
I feel like we're missing something, but I don't have a better alternative at this time. There's nothing marking the door. So let's say we figured out the riddle, whatever it may be. Well, how do we correspond that to a door?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unless that's part of the answer. I don't know. I hate riddles.
Is it like a directional thing? Is it like... So I'm trying to think in terms of if we were to have an answer. Isaac, that's a good point. How would we differentiate? How would we know what's what? Maybe it's a direction.
It could be a direction, but in chess, if chess exists in this world, kings and queens can move the same directions. Different distance.
Yeah.
But the same choice.
And wind goes every direction as well. I feel like it has to be... Yeah, unless the riddle is that we just pick one. I don't like that, though.
It seems too easy.
It does. Like, I feel like it wouldn't be written here if we just go through any which door we want with the same repercussions.
Tessie does chuckle, though. He goes, well, not entirely. The conatus is a rite of passage. It may have very little to do with solving riddles and everything to do with being willing to make choices and lead. There's nothing saying that any of this is some sort of actual test. It's simply the journey to get to the end.
Yeah.
That may be the point of this.
I just want an answer.
I
understand.
I'm thinking along the same line. I just want to be careful. I think a lot of this corresponds, except the elemental lines. Earth, water, flame, wind dare not tame. What seems to be the thing that doesn't really correspond with just simply making a choice. Not as directly as some of the other ones.
Should we put a queen to sleep?
Do we have a queen here? We have, I suppose, royalty. And I look at Lena.
And
of sorts.
I definitely acknowledge that you looked my way. I'm torn about this. If it's as simple as making a choice, then I suppose we could go through that door. I'm just afraid that that's too simple and that we could potentially be putting ourselves in harm's way.
Grail, you had a pretty high result on that investigation check, right? Like 18?
18, yeah.
I will say that when investigating that first tunnel on the far left, one of the things you were able to find while giving it a pretty expansive once-over is that the knob of that door had the letter C on it.
Oh, shit.
I'm out.
Okay. Okay. So
an E. The answer is E. What door has E? Tessian says this in his voice. I'm sorry. Do you say that there are letters on the door? Look, earth, water, and flame all have an E. Yeah. But wind does not. It is not in mind, but it is in dreams.
Eternity, ended space.
It's not in Kings, but it is.
I hate riddles. I hate them. Okay, so this is C, so this is not it. All right, let's find them.
Well, to be fair, Grell, next time you see a C on a door, maybe relay that to the group more quickly.
I didn't know.
But for story purposes, you did know.
I did, but not until Chris told me that I knew.
I didn't think that was important.
It was, etched in there, but it seemed better than fumbling about for too long. So you guys check the 8 doors, and it turns out the 8 doors correspond to the 8 letters that make up the word conatus.
Oh.
Conaetus.
So we're
E.
going in E.
I would think so.
Then-
But I'm going to let Lena, I think you should do the honors.
Right. So I will go to the door and turn the knob and then see what happens.
Tessian, good catch.
Well, it was Grail that actually looked, but yes.
And told you guys like 20 minutes later.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just remembered. So what's your guys' formation for this? Are you just letting her go off by herself? You guys in the same tunnel, in the main room? What's happening here?
Horses stay in the room. Hopefully they don't get eaten by a grill.
The horses
It's, like,
did not
crazy.
help solve the riddle.
No.
Yeah, and it's like crazy dark in here, those poor things, but I'm not leaving them with a torch, so they're just going to have to suffer in the dark, I
holds
guess.
They're like cows. They'll just fall asleep immediately. In the dark.
Right.
I would, to this point, every time Lena has gone through, I've immediately followed Lena. It doesn't have to be that way again, but I would not really be hesitating.
I mean,
The horses can't fit at all?
The horses might be able to fit. The wagon's not going to.
Oh.
I don't know that we want to be dragging horses through
Crash,
ancient.
unless you're thinking the horses are going to fight with us, I don't think that's a good idea.
No. I was just asking if it was like what size the door was. I don't give a crap about the horses. They're food to me.
Crash, unless you think the horses are going to bust out some horse karate.
I do not wish to bring the horses. I don't care.
So we have Lena, then we have Isaac. If need be, Tessin and Thea, or Thea can go wherever she wants. She's her own person. Tessin will follow. Third, then.
She rides the horses out the
I'll
cavern.
be in the back with the torch.
Okay. So Grail, you're 4th then?
I'll hang out with Crash near the back.
Horse ninjas are 6th.
Yes. All right. So, Lena, you head down this 5th hallway, a little bit right of center, and place your hand on the door. With your hand on the handle, nothing seems to happen. You turn, and it has give to it. Push the door inside. Everybody's kind of, on their toes, ready for anything. Door seemingly opens into a hallway without incident.
Okay. So I will say the coast looks clear. Let's keep going.
A smaller hallway, but still of similar construction to the one as you came in, just a smaller version of it, to where it's not a tight fit, but you probably can't go more than like 2 across, and Crash, you're not like hitting your head on the ceiling, but it is a little bit lower than you might like, all things considered. It's probably only like 8-9 feet tall, so it's there. You're not going to hit your head, but again, it's like, hope this doesn't get any smaller, because it's going to be tough for me and Isaac since we're the tallest. Heading onward?
Onward we go.
Everybody make a perception check, please.
The question is, Grail, are you checking out my fiance's ass?
I was not. I think I'm mainly pretty focused on the task at hand, but if she's got a good walk, my eyes might wander. Yes.
If
15.
she wants me to. 9.
The back of her head is up here, Grail.
Yeah, considering her role just now, I think maybe she is.
No, I just got a 4.
Yeah, I can see.
And again, I got a 19, so.
Oh yeah, I gotta roll for 12. Lena, you can hear this faintly, but even your roll's not quite good enough. The rest of you are not noticing this, except for Tessian. Tessian, you hear what sounds like water up ahead. Not entirely sure how much or where or from whence, but it sounds like running water, and it's kind of echoing through the chamber, so it's really difficult to discern how far away it might be. It's quiet, so it's probably a ways off, but you're not entirely sure.
He says as such, I hear water up ahead. That's it. So it says.
Very good.
Yeah.
You guys head down this tunnel another maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and eventually it opens up into a rectangular room of sorts, maybe 40 feet on the short side, 50 feet on the long side. And across the middle of it, as this noise did get louder and louder, and you could almost see it from the distance as you got closer, there is very rapidly moving water going basically across your path. And there are grates in the wall through which the water is coming from one side and then through to the other with grates on that side as well. This is like waist high. Doesn't have a source that you can see from here. It's just coming out of the grates. You're not entirely sure what its point of origin is. It also seems kind of treacherous.
Wait, I might have a thing for this. Hold on. How does water walk work?
You cast it. There you go. You clicked it. It's a ritual,
Yeah.
which means that you can use a spell slot, or you can spend the next 10 minutes and 1 action casting it for free, and then up to 10 willing creatures within 30 feet that you can see can walk on liquid surfaces for an hour.
Is it gonna work with this, even though it's kind of moving fast? Will it still be? Do you think Chris or whoever, will it still work?
It will it'd be like walking on ground that's moving that fast, but we wouldn't go under per se.
Okay.
That's how I would interpret it. Chris can correct me on that one, but I mean, water walking doesn't say you avoid the rapids. No, you just are on the top of the rapids. So
It's not going to hurt, I'll tell you that much. Well, it's not whether it's going to work or not. You may have to find out, but it's not like I'm not going to be like, oh, you use water walk, you all die.
Okay. So I guess I'm gonna propose that I have this spell that I can potentially use to get everyone across, but that we'll need to see if it works. So I'm gonna.
I'll try it.
Oh, I think we have a way to do this.
Oh.
So you mentioned that you haven't cast a spell yet. Have you told us what the spell is?
Yeah,
Good idea.
I told you what it is. I can start to cast it if you have an idea.
Tessian will use shape water, because I can animate water, to basically just take, it's like a 5-foot square, just take some of the water that's rushing by and just make a nice little bridge. Just shape it into like a little ramp, basically.
Oh, and wait, will that work with water walk, or will that be its own thing?
I mean, you're probably going to need to use water walk. We can't just walk on the water
That's
otherwise.
fair. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Okay, I'm gonna start casting.
Okay. So the two of you kind of concentrate your magic, and you watch as the water essentially does what Tessian described, which is gives you at least enough of an arc that it should lessen the impact of what's happening as far as the force of the water coming. And then all of you kind of feel this strange sensation as Lena finishes casting her spell. You don't feel any different per se, but you can tell there's something off. Your skin kind of tingles with this spell that's been cast on you as a dog barks under the water. So, Isaac, you're going to be the one to test this?
Hell yeah.
You
I'm gonna get a
approach...
running start.
Okay.
By the way.
So it should be noted that I can only do like this is going to be tricky actually, because I'm not. So this is sort of up to Chris and how we want to rule with shape water. I can only do 2 5-foot squares, so like a 10-foot long bridge at a time. Like I can't just do it indefinitely.
Right.
Well,
So
how long is the thing?
Well, there's that, and then the question is like, if we're in the middle of this stream that's coming, and we aren't like, how much can like lift, say, the water or smooth it out, like as we're going? Like, can I just keep a 10-foot long bridge and just sort of like shuffle the pieces as we go, or is it just gonna? Or is the pieces I'm shuffling going to move? It's sort of like do we move with the train? Do we move with the bridge pieces? Do they move with the water, or does the spell affecting a 5-foot square mean I make my own solid path? I have no idea how the physics of that work in this spell.
If you're arranging them such that you're looking to make them 5 feet connected that are going across, so basically perpendicular to the water, it will probably cover almost the entire surface. It's not very long
I'll
across.
jump the rest.
Okay, so then that's what testing does, yeah.
Okay.
So
But
what's the total distance across?
maybe 15 feet tops. It's
Oh,
not super
well.
long.
My jumping distance is 18 feet, so...
God.
So I'm going to tell Tessian,
I'm a big, strong boy.
Tessian, as I prepare to do this, you may be tempted to dissipate the bridge at the last second. I encourage you not to. And I'm kidding. Mostly. No response. Okay, well,
He's
you
thinking.
get a raised eyebrow. Like, I hope you're joking.
You get a raised eyebrow like, I hadn't considered that before now, and now...
just
And I-
got to hope, and I'm going to run for the thing.
Okay. Make an acrobatics check.
I was born for this. I
Born to spend luck.
was born to be lucky and try again.
Natural 1.
24!
Aha.
24. I trip for a second. Everybody assumes the worst. And I launch very nicely.
Yes. And the tail end of it, you do have to be kind of spry for because it doesn't cover the entire distance, but between the two spells that are in effect here and your own nimbleness, you can feel the water kind of catch you as you're getting at the very end of it, but you're able to push through it without the current catching you and you make it to the other side.
When I'm on the other side, am I seeing anything that maybe was obscured from our side, like a switch or a lever or anything of that nature?
There is not, no, but you do see the path continuing on in the same northwest. Well, no, this is different now. This is like east almost.
Okay.
It goes straight forward still beyond this room.
I relay them what it's like, what the feel is like, to what to expect when their foot hits the water, whatever that might be.
And you could even tell them, like, it did feel like it had less of an impact than you thought it would, and that could be because of Lena's magic, because it felt like the current should have hit harder than it did.
Okay.
All right, who's next?
Cord ain't a bitch. She's going to jump it too.
So, Mike, you're actually just going to try to jump the whole thing. You're not worried about trying to land on the water and...
No.
All right. I like it.
According to 5e, my jumping distance is a total of 15 feet, or 18 feet horizontally with a 10-foot running start.
Okay. You can probably get the 2.5, 3 feet up in the air you need, so go ahead and roll for it.
Woo! I have been doing terribly to this point. This should be fun.
This is you. You got this.
Is this athletics, or am I doing just straight strength?
Athletics. Oh my God.
26.
Wow.
Chariots of Fire starts playing in the background as you begin your run,
Hey!
and then your leap. And God, with a roll like that, you pretty much you don't even have to worry about clipping the water. You just kind of land on the other side of Isaac, and Isaac, you're like, this big Dragonborn dude just cleared that with relative ease, actually.
Okay, Karash, you don't have to show off.
Show what?
You know. You know. I'm convinced you know.
I'm gonna turn away, but with a little sly smile.
Cute.
He does know.
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
Roll for no. Who's next?
I want to go.
All right.
Acrobatics?
You're gonna-
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on your method, but
I'm
sure.
not leaping over. I'm gonna walk over,
Okay.
but try to be like
As spry
Yeah.
as possible.
as spry as possible.
Chris, I'm going to
Yes.
position myself close to the barrier in case I need to try to, like, grab someone and help them through.
Okay.
Not going to
23.
need it here.
All right. Basically the same idea. You're able to kind of tuck and roll your way through, and then at the very end you feel like, oh, I can feel this current. It's pretty strong, but not as much as I thought. And you pop out the other side and 3-point landing, and you're there with Isaac and Karash, and things are looking good.
Yeah, I like when I step off, I'm gonna like reach my hand out to like kind of like clasp Isaac's hand with mine, to, like pull me over.
I pull you over and I say, nice job, Grail. We've come a long way from tying knots into bedposts.
I kind of do like a pseudo kind of like curtsy.
Very good.
All right.
And
Two. Well, I
Jesse,
guess three.
If you want, we can throw you a rope and pull you across.
Tessian waves it off. He's like, no. I could get over just fine. But he, gosh, he's gonna let Thea go first, ladies first, and all that.
Yeah, and as you're considering, she's already now made a running start at it. Rolled a 19, makes it to the other side with a little bit less ease, but still pretty comfortably, not worried about getting clipped by the current, and joins the others on the far side of the rushing waters.
Nice.
She looks back.
I'm
She
gonna
says,
move
"It's actually pretty."
downstream to try and catch anybody that falls in accidentally.
You're gonna slide downstream.
No, literally just like walk down a few feet in case somebody starts.
Gotcha. Yeah, she makes it to the other side. She looks back. She says, "It's actually rather easy, my love."
Oh. Can't let her show you up now, Tessian.
Tessian gives Lena a nod.
Okay.
And for her to go.
I nod back and I will make my way across. Kind of like the same thing with Grail. I'm not gonna be like jumping or anything, but I do want to be safe about it. So acrobatics for me too.
Sure.
Okie dokie. 14. Ugh.
With the help of the spells you have in motion here, it's lowered the DC to where that's enough. So it looks a little rough for a half second. So like Isaac kind of stumbled at the start and then recovered nicely and made it through like a champ. Lena's it doesn't seem like she has quite enough speed to be clearing it as much as she needs to. And there's this moment where like she's going for where Isaac's hand is, and the current catches her enough to where it kind of throws her off, but you still kind of roll out of it on the other side before the current catches you fully.
Good job, Lena. As Fabled here, you don't have to ace the water quiz. You just have to ultimately complete the trial.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's a moment where Tessian is weighing his options and then just decides to go for it. So he'll run, jump. Was it acrobatics, athletics?
Just kind of up to you. I'm
Okay,
letting
good.
people choose.
That's good. Because
The
I have a
method is.
-1 athletics.
I see.
11 acrobatics.
To be fair, it was not really your strong point, and
No.
Thea knows this.
Yeah, and I could just teleport over. I'm just deciding whether or not I should use my spells for such a trivial task. So
I also thought about like transforming into a dragon and flying across, and I was like, it's not.
it's some
waste my
water.
form.
It's
So-
not worth it. But
Chris, with 11, how is he looking?
It's not looking phenomenal.
If
As
he-
he makes it across the spot where he has shaped the water, but as he catches the end of it where it's still kind of rushing pretty freely, it catches him a bit. And I guess Isaac and Karash, you both have a shot at this
I was
if you
gonna-
want to make an athletics check to grab him.
I was going to say, as soon as he's looking iffy, I would tell Grail, grab me. And I would kind of put myself in the water to try to grab Karash. So this is Karash. It's not Tessian.
Hug!
Tessian's dead to me. I just want to touch Karash. You said athletics. I'm gonna try it.
And I would do as he asks.
18.
Hey, I went first, motherfucker.
6. So you reach out for
You were saying?
Tessian. Even with Grail helping you, you reach out and you try and grab him, but the currents are too strong and he goes right through your fingertips. Karash, however, positioned himself a little bit further down the rapids, and as Tessian now gets caught by them and seemingly thrown into the wall by the force of the rapids, Karash, you reach out, clasp his arm, Predator style, and pull him out of the force of the current and onto the other side safely. A little harrowing, but seemingly fine.
I'm going to mumble quietly about rope.
And Tessie just sort of brushes himself off and gives Karash a nod. Thank you, Karash. It was a bit faster than I thought.
Yeah, I have no quips. I like that could have been a lot worse than I was expecting.
Yeah, it was really the first chance you had to see that these currents were not messing around.
Well, good job, everyone. Guess we avoided a rather bad situation there.
We did it!
You've made it to the end of the Conatus.